How could anyone consider being a Catholic right now, especially in light of all of the scandal that's going on in the church? It seems like every week there is a new scandal. Maybe it's the sex abuse scandal or misuse of funds or residential schools or whatever it is. I think all of these scandals are compounding. And people are beginning to ask the question, why would anyone want to become a Catholic? And how could anyone consider remaining Catholic, especially in spite of all of these scandals that are going on in the church right now? Well, we should feel outraged. As a Catholic, we should feel outraged and ashamed of all of the atrocities that have been committed. And here's the thing, is all of us, me, the Pope, priests, we sin. And that's an awful thing, but the Catholic Church is the largest charitable organization on the planet with 1.4 billion members worldwide. And there are unfortunately people who do awful and immoral acts under the label of Catholic. And this is not to diminish or excuse any of the vile, immoral acts that have been committed across the ages. The Catholic Church is a divine institution made up of human sinners. And I think we're coming to realize that reality. In each of these scandals, every time that we see a news headline in the media, we are realizing the failures of sinful humanity. So how are we to think of the Catholic Church in light of all of these issues, in light of all of these scandals? Well, just like if a spouse were to have an affair, it does not nullify the institution of marriage. And just like if a nurse or a doctor were to mistreat a patient, it doesn't diminish the College of Nurses or Physicians. And just like if a teacher were to mistreat a student, it doesn't discredit the teachers' union or the Board of Education. We should feel disgusted for these atrocities. And the people and individuals responsible for them should be held accountable. And a building on a foundation of reconciliation and healing must continue. So how can anyone be a Catholic today in light of all of these scandals and all of these issues? Well, I'm not going to answer that question for you from my own account, but I'm going to point you to somebody else. See, I've had the opportunity to go and to minister and sing and speak to a First Nations community in Northern Canada. And this is a beautiful community of people that unfortunately have endured abuse and suffering, who had a residential school. This community who is dealing with substance abuse and neglect and all sorts of issues. And despite all of that, despite all of the abuses and all of the immoral acts that have taken place and they have endured in their community, they still have one of the most vibrant faith lives I've ever witnessed on the planet. This past Easter, sadly, the only church for this community of 4,000 Indigenous people, the Catholic Church, burnt to the ground. And they have every excuse to abandon the faith. Because of the historical atrocities that happened in their community, because of the burning of their church to the ground, they have every reason to walk away from the faith, and yet they have such a vibrant faith life. They have such a zeal and a passion for their Catholic faith. How can this be? They have not put their faith in sinful humanity. Their faith is in Jesus. We tend to idolize our faith leaders and put them up on a pedestal and sometimes even defend their immoral actions. How can someone be Catholic today? Because the tenets of our faith do not teach these immoral acts as permissible. If these people haven't lost their faith, despite all of the abuses and immoral acts and all of their struggles, then what's our excuse? If our trust in the Catholic Church is wavering, then maybe we need to ask ourselves, are we putting our faith in sinful humanity, or are we putting our faith in Jesus Christ? Let's not abandon Jesus because of the sins of Judas. Our faith calls us to more. Let's pray for the church. Let's pray for those who have been hurt and abused by people in the name of the church. And let's pray that the leaders and the bishops of our communities will continue to work towards building a foundation of healing and reconciliation for all of those who have been hurt by it.